Dear listener, this is your host, Tom, and I want to let you know, I want to prep you for this. Today's show will be a little different. Patrick, as you've come to know him, is not here. As you've heard through the past episodes, he will be beginning his journey to Cincinnati, and he needs about a month off. So I will be finding replacements, though he can never be replaced. But we'll figure it out. But this week, don't freak out. Don't be alarmed. We have Zach Paulson here. Another one of my best friends for 15 years. Hello, Zach.
Hey.
For those of you, we talk about Zach all the time. He was on an episode. I think it might have been in the 20s. I think it's called the one where they're actually reminiscent.
Yeah.
You can hear Zach on there. He was our third guest, but we never really took the time to kind of introduce him. So he's here this week. He's going to be offering me some advice on the what to expect with the upcoming marriage, as he is a married man. So don't get any ideas, Matt. You don't know. You don't know Matt, do you?
I don't know Matt. Hi, Matt.
So Matt, he's just a good dude, all around good dude. If you want to hop on our Twitter at any point, Zach, you can talk to him. I know that you hate. You're just talking before we recorded. You hate technology. What's all this about?
So, like the Twitter deal.
Not your thing.
Yeah. In the days of collegiate learning, I spent some time twiddling thumbs on Twitter.
Ooh, alliteration.
Twiddling on Twitter. And I just found myself wasting more time where I could have easily been spending those moments looking, researching, and ultimately getting very rock hard over rocks, literally. So, For those who don't know, Zach is a geologist, right? Yes, I am a collegiate trained.
Is that the same? You're talking like you're doing like 100 slam poetry or something.
100% bona fide geologist of geology.
Okay, so you feel like specifically to those Twitters, just you could be allocating that time for better things.
Well, not just Twitter, Tom, but not just Twitter, but during those times, I found myself trying to be a little more in tune with my collegiate brethren.
Okay,
and I was like, I don't really care about being in tune with them over Twitter. I'd rather just go drink some beer. Well, everyone says, yeah, let's go drink beer over Twitter. And that, does not happen sometimes.
Never happens.
It's like, God, I got all excited over nothing. I was twiddling, and now I'm just, well, I guess you live and you learn. And that day, well, most of those days, I learned that Twitter was not my friend.
Okay.
And,
wow.
The whole Trump thing, but we won't go down that way.
Oh, yeah, let's... We already have a politics podcast.
Yeah. I got a lot of fat to chew. But,
sure.
I
think we all do.
Yeah, gosh. Lots of fat.
God.
Fattiness.
Yeah, Pat likes to go off on these just... So he drinks throughout the recordings, and it's so funny because I can't hear it over Skype, but when I'm editing it, I can hear just like constant cracking of cans of beer. There was like a day where I was like, wow, Pat is like going off the rails. Just like, I don't know what has gone into him. And as I'm editing, I hear that he's just getting more and more wasted as we record. And it's just like, by the end of the hour, he's just going off, and he'll get political. And he's always like, you know what? You got to delete those past 20 minutes.
Well, so you got to understand that. And actually, in fact, let me rewind a bit. I almost assumed that you may have been familiar enough with Pat, and I'm not. Anyway, So during all the recordings that we've sent you in the past of music and other random things,
Right.
we've sent 4, 5, 6 in one night, and some of them started out sober, and most of them ended up wasted.
Right.
So that tone of voice and the way we sounded progressively
just got weird.
it just got more fun, man.
More fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Gosh. Did I ever tell you that story about one of these nights, me and Pat were sending you some, we may or may not have been sending you some lyrics or sending you some recorded doings, but this was prime time, so like post second DC travel.
Yeah.
So like prime time, and I know, Tom, you don't drink, but me and Pat were really, really good at it that summer. Like dangerously good at it. So we were like down a fifth, and a bunch of beers, and ran out of beer, and like, well, we're not. Oh, crap! I mean, we're not even. No, not really that drunk. I guess we'll have to drink Uncle Kenny's beer, and so we did.
Who's that?
Uncle Kenny?
Yeah.
Well, Uncle Kenny is my great uncle, and he lived with my parents and me that summer after he fell ill. And boy, we had a hootenanny of a good time with Uncle Kenny. He would come down with us every once in a while and slam a few beers and do a couple shots, and yeah, and that was Uncle Kenny days. Summer 2012. You guys were
definitely good at drinking. I do remember that. But before we get too deep, I said at the beginning.
I'm sorry.
We never really introduced you last time, and here we are again, just blowing right past it.
Yep.
So yeah, quick intro, I guess, from my side, and then you can tell your story, I guess.
Okay.
I met you and Pat when I started public school after I got basically kicked out of Catholic school in 8th grade.
You devil.
I met you guys. We started a band together and have pretty much been best friends ever since. Now, Pat and I went to the same high school. You were elsewhere at Iroquois where we met.
Yep, that's right.
But we've stayed in a band. We've made music ever since. We talk not as much as I would like. So there are, I feel like, a lot of, Pat, I feel like I know pretty much everything about him now. I mean, there's, we talk a lot, through a lot of things on the show, but also some stuff off the air that, the listeners don't quite hear, more intimate stuff. He's not quite as open as I am to the world. But you are super busy just working all the time. And like we said, you're married. We don't really get too much, or I feel like I don't really get much about you. Like I kind of know generally like where you're at, what you're doing, but like not to the level that like we used to when we were in high school and we hung out 3-4 times a week. So like just in general, like what is going on? Like you're in St. Paul, Minnesota.
I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, Minneapolis. Okay.
Yep. I am in the city limits proper. Not quite the downtown, but the north side. Some folks may call it it's a little hairy up here in some sections. Certainly not my neighborhood.
Sure.
It's a very nice little spot. Tom, I will tell you.
Ooh, tell me.
What I've been up to.
Okay.
And I think, you've heard bits and bobs throughout the last, few years since I've been here. Scattered information on my New Hampshire travels.
Right.
A little bit of out in the woods for a long time.
Yeah.
And then kind of hitting the street really after waking up from, sleeping in the leaves for a long time. It was fast. It was super fast. And I attribute some of that ill communication skills to not really really expecting what it was hard to really adjust from 10 straight months, and that doesn't seem like a whole lot of time, but it's
Right.
essentially a year. But I was isolated with other individuals, but in the woods. That's where we were.
And that was with
And-
AmeriCorps, right?
That's right. New Hampshire Conservation Corps, Bear Brookers 14. Sock, the Sock Cabin Fellowship. Our cabin was named the Sock because it was warm, stinky, and wet.
Oh.
And so like I said, it was very difficult, and it's still difficult. I was thinking about this last night, in fact. The adjustment from that is still happening, I think, and it's been 2+ years now.
Right.
And I slept in a hammock for 2-3 months straight, and a really good night's sleep doesn't really come unless I string that thing up and I just hang out, man. But
still today, like you sleep better in a hammock?
I sleep better in a hammock. I think I will forever and always sleep better in a hammock.
Wow. You know, when I was on tour, which was like, oh my God, 8 years ago, we were sleeping in a school bus, and I was basically on a sheet of plywood with a really thin yoga mat on it and just like a pillow. And it was the most comfortable. It was like the best I've ever slept in my life, probably just because I was so tired. But when I got home after like 2 weeks, I slept on the floor for like over a month. Like it was really hard to sleep in a bed, and that was only a couple weeks. So like I totally get that.
Yeah, and I still sleep on the floor because when I wasn't sleeping on a floor, or when I wasn't sleeping in a hammock, if I didn't have any trees, I would set up my system on the ground, and I would just sleep on the ground. And I would be bug free. I'd be dry. Some of my camping spots were just pristine, and I just got to wake up to the sunset a number of times.
You
over
woke
a
up
river.
to the sunset.
Oh yeah, dude. New Hampshire, anything's possible. Live free or die. And no, I woke up with the sunrise and
Gotcha. Yeah.
whoops, and in some really incredible places, overlooking the Connecticut River multiple times. Some old volcanic throats, which are just the green and white mountains essentially, and well, portions of them. One of them. I won't go down the geology road, but
Thank you.
I'll spare you those more than interesting details. And yeah, but still to this day, sleeping regularly, you know, what society calls regular in like a Serta or a whatever you call mattresses.
Sure.
Whatever.
Mattresses.
They're
yeah.
overrated. They're overrated.
No way, dude.
I
My
think
mattress
so.
is the best purchase I've ever bought. Pat and I had a conversation about it, and I will fight you on how
I'll
good my
fight
mattress is.
Well, okay. Deal. Let's go.
Okay, dude. Whatever.
Ouch, dude. Don't start already. But anyway, Tom, I moved here after that time. I moved to St. Paul. I lived in a little apartment. And you got to be there. I was really glad that you got to see that little spot.
It was awesome. It
And,
was like a mansion that they converted into like a bunch of apartments, right?
That's right. It was the Summit Avenue, really big wig, well-to-do family era, and they built these giant mansions to the west of. Well, I shouldn't. Well, anyway, they built a lot of mansions on a road in St. Paul, and I'm trying to get my geography straight, and it's just not really happening right now. And they're all there, and they're all still there. And a lot of them are co-owned by family members, and some of them are purchased by
developers or whatever.
Like landlords.
Okay, yeah.
And renters, and they turn them into they split them all up, turn them into rental places. And, sometimes it was really, really cool living in that building, and sometimes it was really, really cold.
Right.
Other times it was really, really hot. And, but all in all, it was a really cool year of life in that little apartment. And then go ahead.
At what point does Liz enter the scene with this? This is like at AmeriCorps, right?
Yes. And this goes to show how easy it is to forget that one is married, because especially when your wife isn't around. Yes, I met my wife, Elizabeth, literally on the side of the road. I needed a ride to the camp in New Hampshire, and I got a little email strand at the time. This is when I didn't hate technology so much, so
sure.
I could, I was like, I'll open this email gladly. And this woman was traveling from St. Paul through Erie, Pennsylvania, and she sent out, "Hey, does anybody need a ride?" I'm like, shoot, yeah, I need a ride. I don't have a vehicle to go out there in. So she was driving through and picked up another guy in Detroit and stayed in one of the dirtiest homes, I believe she said she's ever been in. Picked up the guy, and I heard all about it. It was kind of a funny story. And then she picked me up on the side of the road. I threw my guitar and my little tote and my big old backpack in the back of the Pontiac Vibe. Got in the back seat, had a little granola snack, and away we went.
Like, that's all you took for like 10 months?
What's that? Yes. Yeah, I took a guitar, and I took a Tupperware tote full of items, including, what was in the first few? What was in that? There was some really good stuff, but not a whole lot of things. I mean, there were some books. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to bring too many books. And then all of the gear that I would need for the conservation season part of my service time in AmeriCorps. So everything you really need for like a backpacking excursion, and 3.5 weeks at a time, and then you'd come back and re-up, if you will, and then go back out. And so that was a huge part of that conservation corps. Built a lot of trails, built some bridges. I restored an 18th century. I'm sorry. An 18th century. No, my gosh, 19th century. What is wrong with me? I restored an
Whoa,
old
are you
dam.
drinking now?
I'm drinking LaCroix. I'm drinking sparkling water.
Is that how you pronounce that?
What?
LaCroix?
Yeah. What?
Oh,
Tell
no,
me what you
I actually
say.
have no idea. Pat and I got in a big fight the other day about how he pronounced the name of a band, and he was right, and I don't want to go down that same road again. I believe you.
Oh. Well, it's spelled Croix.
You're right, yeah.
LaCroix?
I don't know. Sounds good. Some French
Sounds good to me.
Weird
Yeah. French things. I like French things.
Shut up.
Shut up. And no, I'm not drinking.
Oh, that's fine if you were. Judgment-free zone.
Judgment-free zone, just like weeds. And so, yeah.
So you literally just met her, like she just happened to pick you up. Like, if she didn't pick you up, if you didn't read that email, would you still have met her at the camp, or was that like
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
we would have been introduced. We would have known each other. We would have been in the same group for 10 months regardless.
Okay.
But she picked me up and we hit it off. It took a while to get the ball rolling, but we just really clicked. And when you're in the northeastern forests, in the middle of the winter, because this program started in January. It was right after the new year that we were shipped out there. So it was pretty cold, lots of snow. I mean, it was a magical winter wonderland. It's really, really something else. And you're stuck with a lot of really like-minded people. You know, you got to have some gumption to sign up for a crew like that. It starts in the middle of the winter, and
yeah, geez,
really want to dedicate 10 months of your life to do something like that. So some like-minded individuals, some hardy folks, and yeah, we all clicked, and Liz and I clicked pretty well too, and so she's still part of the picture, and she's actually still doing that a version of that kind of work now. It's been 2 years, and she's kind of kept up with that.
Jesus.
And she does a version of it. It's not so much conservation now. It's more of outdoor education. So right now, as we speak, I have no idea where she is.
No way.
Yep. This is the second time this summer where I've just no idea.
How long is she gone for?
She will be gone for another 3 weeks.
How long has she been gone?
Since the beginning of May.
What?
She's been home since the beginning of May a couple times for a few days here and there.
Oh my God, dude.
It's been basically the whole summer. And there's August 14th or 15th is when she comes back. So maybe not a quite full 3 weeks she'll be gone for.
Oh my God, dude.
But she left last
I had no
Saturday.
idea.
And this was all last summer too. She was actually gone for 2 straight months last summer, and I saw her twice, maybe 2 days of that whole last summer, and maybe 3 or 4 days since the beginning of May.
Holy shit.
Yeah, something like that. It really. I've been trying to keep track of the days that she's not around, and I kind of know the days, but early May I was just kind of lost because she was so back and forth, in and out, and
right.
It was just hard to really know how many days she's been gone since early May. Anyway, I'm going down another tangent, but
dude, that's absolutely crazy to me.
So she is. I know her general whereabouts. About a few days ago, they put their canoes into one of the lakes. This is the land of 10,000 lakes here.
Sure.
And paddled their way into the Boundary Waters canoe area, and that is the northernmost expansive waterlogged region of Minnesota, and that whole lake abyss stretches all through Canada as well. So it's, tens and tens of thousands of little lakes and rivers and tributaries. And what she does is take these students out, high schoolers, and some of them volunteer for it. Some of them, their parents make them do it. And
I bet those are the fun kids.
The idea is that they are meant to learn a lot about themselves out in those scenarios, and also learn the values of hard work and teamwork and friendship and responsibilities. Sure. And because you're literally dependent upon yourself and the few people that are out there with you to survive. And because if you don't got them and you don't know where you are, yeah, you might be dead. So, to put it bluntly. But a couple days ago she went out, and there's no cell phone service up there at all. And so it'll be 2 weeks that I will have absolutely no idea whether she's alive or dead.
Dude.
And that's my wife.
Well, she sounds adventurous. That's like...
And it's kind of cool. I know she has a cool job. I've learned to admit that she has a wicked cool job. And she loves it. She hates the 9-to-5 typical lame thing that a lot of people have to do. She's fortunate that she doesn't have to do that because I'm awesome. And I don't allow her. It's not a relationship like that.
Sure.
She thought that it was right for her and right for us, and I said, I'm not going to stop you. So she went forth and she did it. It sucks. I'm sad and lonely during the summer months.
Jesus, dude.
But she does have a pretty sweet job.
So I feel like this gave me a bunch of help me put some things in perspective. So Megan is training to be a clinical herbalist, which is like it's basically like a doctor, but it's all through like
Who smokes pot?
No, there's no pot.
Oh, grows pot. Oh.
No, it's not pot. Like
Eats pot.
she injects it between her toenails.
Oh, that was my next guess.
No, so it's like ancient Chinese medicine. It's like basically everything but pot. Like there are enough places around here that just do pot in Colorado.
Right.
So it's like
so the tinctures and herbals and
right,
and things like that, essential oils and
right. So she's in this biology class that's like every Sunday from like 7 a.m. and they get back at like 11 at night. And they're always exploring like some 14,000 foot mountain. And like, you know, she did a biology class in the Alleghenies when we were in Virginia, and there are a lot of different plants out here. So she wanted to learn a whole new, what's the word? Like the different herbs of a different climate, you know?
Ecosystem?
Yeah, I wanted to say ecosystem, but I only use that word in terms of like technology, like the Apple ecosystem, and it didn't sound right to me talking about like plants. But that was absolutely right. Thank you.
Well, yes. It is sort of where the word is derived from.
Shut up. So she's gone all day on Sunday. She'll work on Saturdays, and like I just work Monday through Friday. And Saturday, I'm so tired and I get really bad back spasms from like working on a roof and being bent over all day that I'll just sit on the couch all day. And like I want to go practice archery, but like then I start thinking like, oh, there's going to be people there. I don't want to have to stress about like, are they done shooting? Am I going too slow? Are there going to be enough lanes, whatever? So then I don't do that. I'm like, well, I'm going to go ride my bike, get some exercise. But then it's 98 degrees and I'm on a hot fucking roof all day where it's 140 degrees and the shingles are 190. I don't really want to be sweating my ass off on the weekend. So then I go to watch Netflix. I'm watching a movie. I get kind of distracted and I'm just like constantly going through this cycle of like check Facebook, check Twitter, check Instagram. Forget that I already looked at Time Hop to see my memories from years ago. Check Facebook, check Twitter, check Instagram. I get so bored and so sad and so lonely that I start like getting angry at Megan. Like, I can't believe she's doing this biology trip on Sundays, man. I'm just sitting here bored as hell. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then you're talking, your wife is gone for literally months at a time. It, man, it makes me really feel like I need to calm down about the Sundays.
So, this spring before Liz went on her first few adventures, she also was part of a master naturalist program. And to become a master naturalist, it kind of ups your game a little bit when you're out in the woods.
So is that like weed?
Yeah, like rolls really good joints, like a master.
Yeah.
So from even before May, there was 7 weeks where she would work part-time during the week with a part-time job with the University of Minnesota Extension, at this like a ecological reservation. And so every weekend it would turn into her working at the U of M extension on a Saturday, and then her master naturalist would be Sunday on all day, or it'd be swapped, or vice versa. So I would work Monday through Friday, and great, it's weekend. I can spend time with my. No, I guess not this weekend.
Not quite.
And so that went on for about 2 months before she even left. So,
God,
yeah, it's really been a long time.
damn, dude. Yeah, like I started to go crazy after 2 days. Like, oh God, like I'm actually gonna pick up work this Saturday and Sunday and work, like 13 days straight just to not be bored. I might work weekends for the next 4 weeks just because she's not going to be here. And
I did that.
I go crazy, like, and I hate my job. I think that's the first time I've said it on the air. I fucking hate my job. But I absolutely adore the people that I work with, so it makes it a little bit easier.
Sure.
But yeah, I might go do it for an extra couple days. I can't imagine going months, dude. Like she visited her dad in Florida over summer for like 10 days. And I was like ready to jump into traffic, man. Like I'm not as much of a codependent as I used to be, where I would get like super bad anxiety and like actually just turn into like a really boyfriend. But like I just get sad, dude. Like I don't have any friends here. You know, you and Pat are super busy. I cannot make music on my own, which is probably the most stressful thing. And I feel like I'm not even like good at recording. So like it's hard for me to write music. When I try to record it, I feel like I'm not good enough. And I end up just doing absolutely nothing on weekends. It's like I couldn't literally not go months like alone. Like I really love, and I'm sure you do. I love when she's here, and I love having her around. I don't know, dude. That just, man, thinking about her being gone for months, I don't know how you do it, man. Like I honestly didn't know.
That's a good sign that you like to have her around.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good sign. Generally speaking, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but
right.
The folks you want to marry, kind of like them to be around.
Sure.
There's a little sarcasm.
What? From me?
No, from me.
Oh.
I'm trying to inject it.
Okay.
And I'm having a difficult time, but I'm rooting for you, Tom.
Thanks, dude.
That's a good thing to want your future wife to be around. That's good. That's a good thing. Good start. That's a good start. So I did the whole like, oh well, she's gone. Well, I'll just work. And I did that, and I got a lot of done, but I also like just burnt myself to the ground.
Yeah.
And like last summer, I completely, right when we bought this house, I completely ripped out a wall. I threw everything. I just demolished the joint, inside. I was going to remodel the kitchen since she was gone and give her this lovely, beautiful kitchen by the time she gets home. And so I worked, it sort of worked out that way, but I worked every weekend. And whether it be, actually it was on a side job, so I was making money on the weekends, and I paid for 2/3 to 75% of the entire remodel with just side work.
That's awesome.
And so it didn't really break the bank at all. But at the end, I just looked back and I hated what I did because I was so close to it. I saw every tiny little flaw, and I still do.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't go in my kitchen and just without going. And
I
built this brick wall, and I see all these little things and on the tile and the cabinets and everything that I did, and I just can't stand it. I can't stand my kitchen because I'm
that sucks, dude.
I hate it. And she loves the kitchen.
Sure, I'm sure.
And it's like, it works fine. It's a kitchen, and I live in a 1931 built house. It's a pretty old house. So back then appliances were much smaller.
Yeah.
And it's a small kitchen, but I opened it up. I made it into a big open floor plan. The main level, the first floor of the house. And so there's a little bit more room, but it's a small kitchen. It's not like it's an enormous kitchen. I was only able to do so much with the room that I had. But we don't have kids, and we don't entertain too often, so it's a kitchen that works as a kitchen.
Yeah.
But I just hate it. I can't stand it. And I'll just have to get over it, or I'll burn the place down.
So did you build the cabinets, like, or did you buy them like prefab?
I actually bought them prefabricated, and I finished them. So
Awesome.
I painted them, and I did the old, you take chalk paint and you paint it on there and you sand it off. You throw some wax in there, different colors, and make them look all old. So
Sweet.
the idea is that they look super old, but they're actually kind of new, and they match the old cabinets. The old cabinets are still there. It was an attempted galley style kitchen when the house was built, but it was so small that it didn't really work out that way. But I completed that dude's mission when he started it in 1931 to build a galley style kitchen, and that's what I kind of completed. Well, it's not quite done yet. I have more things to sabotage when I flick the match and light this thing on fire.
Hey, could you send me pictures for the show notes, like for people listening to see? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I can send some unfinished pictures with all of my critiquing in a small 34 to 50 paragraph description.
Sure, 20,000 words minimum.
You got it. Okay. Most of them are so if you can read that, then
for the listeners, if you want to see these pictures, you can go to www.elemental.fm/reminiscent/36. We'll have an album in there, probably just a link to Imager with pictures of Zach's kitchen. Because you've sent me pictures and stuff, but I think it might have been like in the middle of you building that wall. Because by trade, you're a stonemason, right? You've been doing that since college? That is correct.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I do for money. That's what I do for money. I'm a geologist and a stonemason, but I don't make any money being a geologist. I just owe money being a geologist. That's
the American way. You don't actually do what you go to college for. I mean, dude.
Yeah, but I like rocks. That works for me, I guess.
Right.
They're
totally
cool. Yeah, it's cool. I enjoy these things. But yeah. So here I sit in this house by myself. But there's a cat roaming around here somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah, here I sit.
Man, so a buddy of mine, one of the guys I work with on my crew, he moved here from Minnesota, and his old boss, who works in solar, owns a solar company, just got like a year's worth of work, and he's trying to get him to move back to Minnesota, and he's pretty much paying double what I'm getting paid now, although there's no health insurance, which is kind of like but he's like, yeah, dude, we can like move to Minneapolis. I was like, oh my God, dude, Zach and I could like be neighbors, and I'll be getting money. Like, he can help me remodel a house. That would be the best. But
you could live in my house and for a time until you're ready to move on. Excuse me. Because by the time, you made it up here, there's, there'd be two spare bedrooms.
Hey-o.
that are modestly equipped, and both of them are pretty ready for people to be in. And then I walk around the house and by myself, and it'd be raining or something, and I look at this room, I'm like, oh, someone could be staying here. I look in the other room, I was like, another empty box. Which one of these soulless pits will I sleep in this evening?
Well, I appreciate the offer. I'm like wholeheartedly in love with Colorado, though. Plus, there's an awful lot going on with Tesla here, who is my employer. I think I will stay here, but the offer was very tempting. Not that it was even offered to me. I was just thinking about it. We kind of had plans of me and Pat living together, which, dude, I still would do that. But
ultimately, the the final destination for that to happen would be the coolest in Denver, with it being just a large city for fun,
Yeah,
as well as
mountains.
having
Oof.
the mountains and everything else to frolic in. It would be, I mean, Minneapolis would be sweet. There's a lot of things to do here too, but if it came down to, all right, this has to happen over the next few years because kids are going to come along. All right, let's go. Let's back up and because we all got to live in the same town again, at least
I know.
once more. Last time we all lived in the same town, we were 18 years old, and that's 9 years ago almost.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Lots changed in 9 years.
Yeah, do you even make, like, I'm okay, so let me think. Backtrack 9 years, right? We just graduated high school. I was just about getting off tour with Run Forever. What were you doing the summer after high school?
I was getting really high. I was smoking cigarettes. I was getting high. I was learning how to drink before I went to college. Was I making music? Yeah, I was doing some music, but not a whole lot. I was just kind of laid back on the chill before I went down to school. I was hanging out with some ladies back in those days, and yeah, that's about it. I don't think I saw you much that summer. I know I didn't see Pat much that summer either.
Yeah.
I think he shipped out pretty quick.
He did. Yeah.
Because the trimester thing, I think he shipped out pretty quick.
Yeah, and I know, like, since I saw you, I mean, music was all I did up until like a year ago, and I just feel like I totally lost the ability to make music. I don't know, dude. I was never able to make it by myself. Like with my last band, The Good Fight, like they would write riffs and then a couple other things, and I just kind of helped put it all together, like that's the role I'm best at, like producing,
Sure.
I'm not really good at writing, and I feel like I really just want to keep making music with you and Pat. And there's like a song that I worked on that I wanted you to record some harmonica over, but when it comes
was that ever sent?
I think so. I think I Dropboxed it and shared it to you or something.
All right, I'm gonna check that as we speak.
I've done a couple different versions since then. But yeah, dude, I feel like a big part of I don't want to say my identity. Well, I guess like how I identified myself has been lost, especially in the past year, and I guess some of that's to be expected moving to a all the way across the country. We don't know anyone. And especially like with the podcast network, we have 3 shows. We're gearing up for a 4th in the next few months. And I'm meeting with someone to start a 5th. Like, it's actually pretty cool, man. There's a girl that my girlfriend, or that my fiance works with.
Yeah, you better get that right from now on.
She says she doesn't really care, which is good because I keep saying girlfriend. She's really into pop punk, like older stuff, like brand new, or like even before that, like when they were young, and she knows a lot about like the history of it. So we're gonna do like a documentary style podcast about like the history of, and there will be like seasons of like drive-through records, we'll go through the history of that, or like maybe like Newfound Glory's origin, and like we want to get like interviews with the band and like family and record labels and early fans and stuff. Yeah. And like that's the most exciting thing, is kind of planning the shows. But then when we're in the swing of it, like, at Asher records on Monday, I edit on Tuesday at work, come home, I record Tuesday, edit Wednesday, straight up comes out, and then we edit that, put it out. It's like when I'm kind of in the groove of things, then I'm like, man, I need to do something else. Like I always want to keep changing what I'm doing. And it's like the routine is kind of killing me right now. Like I don't want to be doing the editing at all. I don't even really want to be doing the publishing. But since I'm like the only like founder, everything falls on me, which is fine. Like that's the way it should be. But God, man, I want to grow and like get people involved. And I'm going to this podcast conference in LA next month, which I'm super stoked about. Hoping to meet some new people to get involved with the network. But like, I feel like I'm getting I don't want to say bored because it's still exciting. It's just it's like the hard part where everything's already going. Now you need to like grow your audience, and that's why I pretty much exist entirely on social media. And a part of me is okay with it. Other times it's like I just want to take a break and like not go on social media for like a month. But if I don't, then I don't have anyone or like anything because my whole life right now is so isolated. And I don't know, dude. Like you have been slowly getting away from using, social media. You're always hard to find on Facebook. Sometimes you're there, although you never post anything. Sometimes your Facebook's gone. Like, I
don't think I've been on Facebook for, I don't know if it's still up. It's not me because I don't. They told me when I clicked that button,
sure.
Hey, your thing will go away in 30 days. Yeah, okay, whatever you say. And I haven't been on it since. So it's been a while.
Right.
Quite some time.
And like I feel like I'm totally the opposite, and we've always kind of been that way. Like I always want to.
You always book the shows. You always talk to the people to get them there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna play guitar and I'm gonna write some lyrics and that's my role.
It. And you did a good job of that, dude. But I was the one on MySpace and all that stuff, interacting with people. And I
can do that.
I sincerely love it, but it's. And I'll tell you what, man, getting a recognition for a band. My old band, The Good Fight, right? We would I wrote a blog post about this just the other day on Elemental FM. I would post a picture of like a notebook and a pen and some lyrics that I would kind of blur out and be like, long day writing, can't wait for you guys to hear the new song, right? It was like the most effortless thing ever. And we'd get like 80 likes on it, and like people who I don't even know were like, oh, cool, can't wait to hear it. And it's like we literally put in the minimal effort and got like a ton of followers and stuff. With a podcast, it's like, what the f*** do you promote with a podcast, man? Like, it's just people talking. There's no visuals at all. Like, you can't just upload a picture of you and be like, this is what I said. Like, it is honestly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Try to get people to give a shit about a podcast.
Sure.
Especially
Makes
because
sense now that you put it in that light.
And especially because Pat and I don't really talk about anything in particular. It's half the time we don't even know what we're going to talk about going into it. But then, we have like a couple shows that are like hyper specific on like the politics of space. Like that's pretty niche. You can kind of get away with promoting, whatever visuals on Facebook. But I don't know, dude. It's a lot of reading books about how to use like how to grow followings on Twitter. And as much as I love it, it's like making me hate it. Which is not a good position to be in when that's like your job,
Yeah.
But geez, dude. Oh,
you gotta. I think I've noticed that when I was, I don't know, teenagers, I figured that I think it's something like late teens. I was thinking like, I'm not gonna do anything in my life, anything at all that I don't really truly want to be doing. And I learned a little bit later is like you got to separate the wants and the have tos. Like an example would be if you have a job, you have to wake up in the morning and you go to work. That's one of those have to do's.
I mean, you could kill yourself, which is always an option I think about every day.
Barring barring any extenuating crazy fucking circumstances. Some of the have to do is you have to poop once in a while. So you have to take that time. That is a necessity. You got to do that. If you don't, bad things can happen.
Sure.
And compare that to what you want to do. Well, to this day, I can say that if I did not want to do anything, I didn't do it. And
right, yeah.
separating that from a have to do, if I didn't want to go to work, well, no, I wouldn't. I would find something else to do. Like my job, and I was trying to give this sort of advice to this freshly 21-year-old young man who's doing some work for us this summer. It's like, if I decide to proceed with this, he was doing a survey. He's becoming a financial advisor or something. He was reading it off a piece of paper. He's not looking at me in the eyes. I'm like, if I should proceed to continue with my education in blah, blah, blah. And I stopped him. I was like, dude, you get it straight now and it'll save you a lot of trouble in the future. If you keep talking like this, you're in your third year of college. If I should proceed with this,
right,
then what the are you doing, man? Whether you have an idea or not, you should just say, I'm proceeding with this.
Yeah,
not
definitely.
So wishy-washy.
Definitely.
Just say it. Don't, if I should proceed, what could... Come on, man. Grab life by the balls. Go get it. I like work. I like to do what I do. And I kind of said that in a way to him. It's like, dude, if you're going to read from a piece of paper from what Mrs. Lipschitz wrote down on a piece of paper, you have to ask these questions for this survey. I don't know, man. Just, I don't know, carve your own, a little bit of your own verbiage in there and just puff your chest out a little bit. And I don't know what he took from that, but
man,
hopefully...
It's hard for some people, man, especially when you don't feel like you're an authority. Like, so I kind of feel like I kind of see that, like, with the podcast stuff. Like, I'm so new to it that it's hard for me to, like, believe in myself. And, like, I kind of have this thing where my whole life, you know, I've always been, like, kind of a goof. You know, I don't... The way that I dress, like, everything about me is super informal. So people sometimes, like, don't take me seriously when I'm trying to be serious. And it's always made me feel, like, really belittled. So I think in my head a little bit, I still think that everyone looks at me like I'm this, like, little baby who, like, isn't to be taken seriously. And one of the things that I hate more than anything is when people have, like, an amount of confidence in themselves that they shouldn't have. Like, I hate that. So then I don't want to be that person, and I already feel so small that then I downplay it even more. And, like, I wish that I had some of the, some of the balls that it seems like you have, but man, I totally get that, especially like someone being in college, not really quite doing the thing yet, just learning how to potentially do the thing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, maybe. And it was hard when I bit the bullet and said, there are no jobs for a guy like me right now in geology, and I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. So what else do I know how to do? Well, I know how to do masonry. Right. So I guess I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to be the best I can be at it. And as it turns out, I'm okay and making a pretty darn good living doing it. And I don't know, just get good at stuff. And just, I totally lied in my job interview too. I showed up at this place, this big giant house, like, yeah, you know how to lay stone? Yeah. Duh. And and I said, yeah, of course. There's a lot. I have a lot to learn, that's for sure. And I'm willing to be taught, but yeah, I can lay stone. I laid like, my first summer, I laid like 6 brick. And the second summer doing it, I laid, a couple stone. And then when I was in New Hampshire, I, redid that dam. I restored that, a swimming pool dam, built by this guy way back when. And so I was like, yeah, of course I can. I can do anything. I'm a geologist. Of course I can. And totally lied. And so I did. I just did it. It's like, all right, make a sample. So I looked at the wall and I picked up a trowel and I found some mortar and some rocks and I built a freaking wall. Yeah, we can work with that.
Jeez.
You're hired. And so there, and that was over 2 years ago. That's almost 2.5 years ago.
And I mean, this isn't something that you like wanted, like that wasn't the plan, right? To get into stone masonry?
Well, I really liked it when I first started.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was cool because I was working with rocks all year long in classes and in labs. And then when I first got this labor job, I'm working with rocks for another few months, but I'm just touching them and I'm getting more up close and personal with them. And then at the end of the day, you turn around when you walk to the truck and you see it up on a wall and you kind of built something, and that's stuck. And I liked that.
Right.
So I was surrounded constantly by hardworking individuals, both in masonry and in geology, because there's a lot of stuff you got to know. And so there's a lot of hardworking peers during that time, and that felt good, felt right. Everyone was doing it. I'm doing it. I'm capable of doing it. And so I'm just surrounded by rocks all the time, and there's just something about them. And whether I was studying them and learning about, specific units under the ground, large expanses of sandstone or shale or what have you, or all those pieces are quarried up, processed, and then put in a pallet, shipped to a job site, put onto a scaffolding plank, and then into the hands of a mason, and put it on a wall. And that's geologically speaking, it's a short blink of an eye in time,
right, yeah.
It's a long journey for a little stone like that. And when you think of the grand scheme of things, it's just, I really liked building things with rocks, and I just liked being around it. And I liked it, so I just kept doing it.
Are you primarily working inside or outside?
It's outside mostly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I've become more and more like indoorsy as time goes on. Especially with this job, dude. Like, so to put it in perspective how much I sweat at work, it was 97 degrees on the ground, which means it was about 130, 140 on the roof, and the shingles were 200 degrees. Right? So it's hot as absolute up there. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. I drank 1.5 gallons of water and I pissed once. Like, ouch. That is how profusely I am sweating. Like, my socks are soaked in sweat. Both my shirts, my shorts, I have multiple sweat rags on. And for someone who doesn't like being outside to begin with, that is not the right job, to be lifting these like 55-pound solar panels, which are like 300 degrees because the way they, create energy is to just get hot as absolute shit and then convert that to electricity. So like you're handling these things that are like hundreds and hundreds of degrees. If you don't have gloves on, you're getting like, serious burns. It's not the right job, but I love the company. I love Tesla. I love Elon Musk. Literally, if you type God in my phone, it autocorrects to Elon Musk. And that's not a joke. Like, it's been like that for multiple years. And I love Tesla. Like, I love renewable energy. Like, it's a really good thing to get behind. So I love like the thought of what I'm doing. So it keeps me kind of like sane, even though I hate the job. There's so many things about it that are so frustrating. But I've talked to my boss and been like, dude, I love this company. I want to stay here, but I want a job in an office on a computer. Like, honestly, being on a computer, like being in my studio, which is like the second room in my apartment, it is just entirely my studio. Wall-to-wall and Zelda stuff, right? Because I'm obsessed with The Legend of Zelda, and then I just have the computer desk that I made myself with my 2 computer screens, the monitors, all the rack equipment, everything I could ever need is right here on one desk. I have my meteorites on the desk with me, some other cool little things. It's like, it's my happy place, and I just want to work inside. And like, it's so funny because we're like best friends, and you know, there's some things we just could not be more opposite on. Like, I would kill to be in front of a computer all day, and maybe the grass is always greener, but I've never liked being sweaty ever in my life.
You always sweated more than any man that I ever really knew.
That's true. I sweat like no one ever in existence. I mean, if it's 50 degrees, I'm sweating like it's bad.
There's a lot of liquids coming from your body in many warm and even, you know, balmy, cooler days. You just sweat, man. You have a problem.
I do.
But it's an okay problem. It's not like you don't have a drinking problem.
It's just
at least you could say.
Right.
Well, that is, I like how you ended that with grass is always greener, because the way I don't wish to be a mason the rest of my life, because I would like my body to remain intact well into my 60s and 70s, and I don't think that many guys make it that long.
No, dude, absolutely not.
Whether it's genetics or whether it's people don't take care of their bodies, and I take care of my body pretty well now, but you know, 30, 40 years down the road, gosh, that's just gonna get a little tougher. And but I would like to intertwine my experience with masonry and with geology and also with renewable energy. So get a load of this, Tom. I want to build the footings for windmills, the engineering that goes into building what supports a giant spinning machine.
Oh yeah, like those huge ones.
The big boys. I mean, there's a lot of forces acting simultaneously, and something's got to keep that thing from falling over. And that's where the geological and environmental engineers come in.
Ooh.
And that's what I'd like to do.
I'd
like to do I'd like to be an engineer.
Wow.
And go in and be like, yeah, we got to do this, and that, and this. Let's check but we're in this type of ground here. Oh, well, I'm a geologist. I can figure that shit out. No problem. Oh, well, what kind of concrete should we use? Oh, well, let me figure that out because I know that too. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm an engineer.
So would you want to start your own company?
You dog. Yeah. So I would, what I would do is I might join the Army Corps of Engineers and get a free federal education after I pay back my paid for education, and then do the real estate thing with this little house and sell it and make a little bit so I can spend some time, or at least give the wife some time or some money just to survive. And I don't want, we'll hash that out later. And, you know, eventually take some of that dough from the house and invest it in solar and concrete and steel, and kind of diversify myself a little bit, and then get into the field well into like my 30s, mid 30s, be pretty proficient at the engineering side of things, and then hopefully have enough, you know, like venture capital to go out on your own, use your investments as a young man and use your experience as a young man, and kind of, be well invested in your own trade, as far as investments go, and also be very skilled and own your own business.
Dude, that's awesome.
That could turn out to be pretty lucrative. It's not all about money, but I don't know.
But a lot of it is. I mean, let's be real.
It's kind of,
you know,
if you're doing really, really well before you're 40, I mean, you could sell everything off and hightail it to the woods and never see anybody ever again.
Right.
And let me tell you, that's really, really high on my priority list.
Definitely.
I mean, not just say goodbye to everyone forever, but like, I'm not going to live anywhere that I'm not going to have a mortgage or like a car payment. What I would rather have is, all right, we're going to see Pat and Tom. Pack the packs because we have to hike 12 miles away from our small little cabin built on some river somewhere in British Columbia or whatnot, and feed the dogs, prune the bushes, or prune the bushes. I'm not gonna have bushes. And I didn't mean trim the pubes either.
So what? From what you just described, I just imagine you living inside a Bob Ross painting. Is that
living the dream, man?
Yeah.
Fro and all. little rabbit skin paintbrushes.
Oh man, happy little trees.
Water-based oil or water-based paintings of rivers and Chinook and all sorts of other weird and natural phenomena.
I mean, that honestly does sound amazing to me, and I think it's part of my God, maybe not even 10-year plan, but maybe 20. Like we were looking at this town called Evergreen, which is west, little south, mostly west of Denver. It's like a small mountain town, really cool, kind of like center, like town center. But a lot of the houses are just like on the mountains, but it's like affordable too. But it's also like 35 minutes from downtown Denver. That's kind of what I'm going for. You know, I want the city to be accessible, but I also don't mind, like, you know, my dream, I guess, would be to have a house, like a nice size house on the side of a mountain with like a back, like a separate studio in-law suite somewhere on the property made out of shipping containers. I did a 3D model of it over the weekend because I was so bored. You can come and stay there whenever you want.
Yes.
But yeah, I totally want seclusion, but accessibility at the same time. And Megan always kind of criticizes me for like, what do you mean in case you want to go out? When the f*** do you ever want to go out? Like, you're full of shit, you know? Like, you're going to...
Well, just in case. Just in case we run out of peanut butter or something.
Right. I mean, and you know, I live on the same like block as our grocery store, and that is dope. Like...
Oh, yeah. I miss those days.
Like, when we were living with her parents, we were supposed to live with them for 6 months. We were going to save up money, and then we both quit our jobs for different jobs that didn't work out. So then we had to take even worse jobs, couldn't save up money, lived there for 2 years in like the deep suburbs, like in the cut, dude. Like, it was like kind of rural. It was suburbs that were 30 miles away from the center of anything, and it was ghetto at the same time. And if you wanted to see a friend, it was an hour drive. If you wanted to go to the grocery store, it was a 25-minute drive. Like, it was awful, and I just do not want that at all, you know? If there's a good show in town, I want to drive, you know, no more than 20 minutes to go see it. But, you know, I want to set myself up for being self-employed, never having to leave the house if I don't want to, and just walk around the property when I'm, you know, talking to advertisers, selling them stuff for, you know, for the show, even though it's mostly done by email, whatever. I don't want to have to go anywhere, right?
But the option of walking around and selling it, you could choose to walk around and email
naked,
or you could
because I have 100 acres, you know?
Yeah, you could. The choices are endless.
Like, I really want to work from home, especially after, you know, there's been days, I don't know if you even knew this, like, I got hired to work just outside of Denver, and then a month after I was hired, they sent everyone to Colorado Springs, which was like 70 miles away. So
yeah.
Every single day I was driving like 160 miles, and there were days that it took 3.5 hours to get home from work, and it was like an hour and 45 there. And I never ever want to be in that position again. And like, they're telling us that they're going to send us back to the Springs like at the end of this month, and like dude, people are going to start like literally rioting. Like no one wants to go back there. That's a horrible way to live your life in traffic, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. And I hate to make like a really bad analogy, but I feel like if your life is chess, you got to set the pawns up in the right position now so that you can start throwing your queen around later, right? Like I'm still kind of trying to move pawns around, like small moves to set you on the right track, but I'm not ready to really like blitz on anything. And
me too, man.
But man, I feel so helpless. I feel so powerless. Like I have a degree I do. I have a degree that's useless. Yeah. I have almost 2 years of experience in a cabinet shop, but I don't want to do that. I have 6 months of experience installing solar panels. I don't want to do that either. My only option is to move to something different. It'd probably take a pay cut because I don't have any experience. And then I'm not going to want to do that either. So like, what do? You know? I don't want to do anything for anyone else, I think is the problem. But right now, you know, the network costs me like $100 a month just to run the thing. And you know, if money comes in, it might not be ever, but you know, if so, it might not be for a while. I think it's the only way that I can be happy is if I'm working for myself. And man, I picked a hard path, you know?
Yeah. Being entrepreneurial is definitely a good thing.
I feel like it's a curse, dude.
Well, you just have to, I mean, I'm sort of entrepreneurial. I do some side stuff on my own, but I'll go back to what you have to do and what you want to do and the have tos. And I mean, you have to set up those ponds or else you're never going to have that 100 acres. So, so you start way at the top of that umbrella, you know, what is it that you need and when you want, and what steps do you have to take to get there? And man, I'm pretty lost and pretty overwhelmed too some days because I'm sitting on this house that is nowhere near completed. Right. So you're talking a mortgage payment, all that other crap. But I can't. It's not easy to do, especially like so for you. Your best bet, or one of your better bets, is probably something you have the most experience in, right? It would be audio engineering, or it would be cabinet or woodworking.
Yeah.
At least to help you set pawns up, because we've discussed this too. Money helps move the pawns around.
Right.
You know, they don't just, you gotta friggin' move those things, and they don't move without a little bit of extra green thrown at them. And yeah, so I don't know. I think the solar thing, even though it's sucky to go down to Colorado Springs, is, dude, that's going to be, I think that's just like woodworking when you were there. I think the trades, there's such a lack of interest in trades among our generation.
Right.
And nobody wants to do that. So when all the electricians and masons die or get old and they retire, who the F's going to do all of this stuff? All the swarming hordes of millennials that went into the trades and learned how to do it? Right. No, they're not. It's going to be a trickling of really ambitious young people who understand that, oh, this is a big pawn. Because it's a 10-year plan for sure. 10, 20-year plan, because tradesmen, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And there's not as many people filling those shoes. So,
well, you know,
being diversified like you are,
yeah.
I mean, it's just a longer go, I suppose. Just a little bit of a longer wait. So for me too, it's a longer wait for me too.
The good thing about my job is that technically I'm an apprentice electrician, and after, like, they kind of have this program where your apprenticeship can be expedited by a couple years. So after 2 years working for Solar City, Tesla, they're going to start transitioning the name next month. You can actually take your test to be a journeyman, electrician journeyman or whatever, which is like way faster than it would usually be. And my dad keeps saying, like, you got to get that license. Hold out for 2 years. Just get the license. Even if you don't want to use it right away, do it. But, like, I'd rather jump off a fucking cliff than be an electrician. Like, I totally wish that I could just be like, oh, that's guaranteed at least $80,000 a year, right? I mean, Why not just be happy with that? But I don't think I can, dude. Like, I need to be doing I need to be doing exactly what I want to be doing, or else I'm not going to do it. And like, I've always, you were saying, like, if you don't want to do something, you don't do it. I got in a lot of trouble as a kid because there are things that you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to see family on the holidays. Well, I didn't really get along with my family, so I just, like, wouldn't go, And, like, well, it's tradition. You have to do this thing. And especially growing up in the Catholic faith, it was all tradition. Well, I don't want to do this thing. I don't personally connect to it, so I'm not going to do it, And my whole life, I thought, like, man, I'm just like a punk-ass piece of shit who just can't conform like you're supposed to. But now I'm starting to realize, like, if you use it properly, that can be a good attribute, And I just haven't really nailed it down yet. I think I need the confidence of an entrepreneur who can walk in a room and sell their shit, Like, I listen to a lot of audiobooks on it to try to get some, to try to educate myself, because I think that's educating yourself is the most power you can ever have, in this world. Have you
actually done it yet? Have you actually walked in somewhere and tried to sell your shit?
Well, I have nothing to sell right now. There's been times in the past. Well, actually, this is such a small victory, and this might actually be my highlight of the week when it comes up. No, it won't be. I defaulted on one of my student loans. My payments were like, I have basically 3 loan payments, one of like $280, one of $360, and one of like $600. Like, they want like $1,200 a month from me. That's not going to happen. I make $16 an hour, So I was like $500 behind, and they sent it to collections. Because of this piece of paper I signed when I was 18, they shove it in your face and say, if you don't sign this, you don't go to college, even though you just already moved to Washington, D.C. I signed a piece of paper, so that gives them the right to collect the $25,000 I owe them up front, which I don't have. I didn't have $500. How do you think I have $25,000? So I've been making some calls. I called a couple lawyers. I read some websites and all this and that, and I called the collections people, and I came prepared. I had like a statement. I had kind of a script I was going off, and this chick was saying, like, well, you owe 25, but we'll take 23, right? We'll take $23,000. I'm like, still, you're not getting it. I don't have $23,000. And I respectfully, but very forcefully, sold my image of I was selling them my thought of, I'm going to pay you $17,000. I will take out a personal loan for $17,000. And I'll give you $17,000 and not a dollar more. You're not getting 25. You're not getting 23. And she kept giving me this stuff. Well, this is this, and that's the law. We can only settle for 95. And, that's when I kind of threw the number down. And she's like, well, that's not even 75%. I'm like, well, what is 75%? She's like, well, if you give me a 75% settlement, then I can send it to these people. I'm like, whoa, I thought it was 90. Why are you saying 75? Let's make it 65. I'm actually going to give you $16,000, because now I see that you're showing your hand. There is some flexibility. You're just not wanting to show it to me, And this chick got super defensive, and dude, I had the upper hand. Like, even though I'm in debt, $25,000, for once I felt like I came prepared. I know, like, I guess I have to have that, like, intensity in that preparation if I'm trying to sell a product or an idea or whatever. Like, I felt powerful, man. And like, it made me think, like, I have the ability to do this, because I wasn't disrespectful. I was just forceful, I was asserting, my I don't know, what do you call it? I was asserting my will. I don't know. And, I did it, man. Like, I've like scared them into taking like an $8,000 pay cut, which at a 12% interest rate is like $50,000,
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I guess that's probably the closest I've come to like getting in front of, someone and really taking control and kind of like getting them to do what I want them to. Cause I feel like I've always been the one who's pushed around, I've never really had like super strong people like that in my life where like they're the take control kind of guys. Like my dad, worked in sheet metal and he was a foreman for as long as I've been alive. Like he was like the guy in charge, but I never saw that side of him, So I'm kind of trying to find that part of me now, and it does feel good, man.
You should come work with me for a summer.
You gonna push me around?
No, no, not at all.
Okay,
I'm gonna pamper you, Tom.
Ooh,
yeah, of course
okay.
I'm gonna push you around. I'm gonna show you. I learned from my dad and then a couple guys through work that everything that you just described, like, yeah, it's tough just to come upon yourself. It is nice to be around it so you understand at a young age what it entails. It's tough to make people believe what you want them to believe.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's not how I respond to people. That's not how I respect people. That's not how I respond positively to people. So it's hard also like breaking myself off of like what would I want to hear from someone, because I'm more inspired to do something by like one of Elon Musk's speech, which is like, we're going to save the world through this, and this, and we're leading the charge. And like, it's all like inspirational stuff. It's not like, if someone tries to like threaten me with something, dude, f*** you forever. I'm never doing anything for you, If you try to fake scarcity, like I feel like I can call someone's bullshit. So like, I don't want to be the kind of person to deal it. But man, I don't know, man. I just felt like a different person when I was talking to these people, and I felt powerful. And like, damn it felt good, I definitely do need to explore. Like, I need to find like situations where I can just like practice that same kind of thing, because like we don't really have it on the workplace. I don't know, because I feel like there will come a time when I'm trying to look out for the hosts of these shows and like get them, the most money I can for their work. And there's going to come down to some conversations like that you just have to have. And I need to be prepared to, put the Mr. Bossy pants on and go for it, I guess.
A key word that you said was knowledge when you went into that phone conversation with the collections lady.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of knowledge. And that's another thing that I told that kid. I was like, if you're going to go into something, you better know it. Backwards, front, sideways. Know all the facets that affect it. Know everything about it. Know as much as possible about it. Because there's going to be a lot of people with questions. And a lot of people are going to try and, or just one, will try to just screw the pooch. And if you have angles, many of them, and are very able to convey them with sound knowledge, take a back seat, because Tom's driving,
right?
And
yeah, I just need to get in that. We're approaching 85 minutes here or something like that. I still have some Ad Asher stuff to work on. I feel like I could talk to you all night because you're my best friend. And we didn't really cover any one thing in particular. That was kind of all over the place, but
that's I think that's the essence of this podcast, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Like sometimes Pat and I will try to do like an actual show, but sometimes we just like have a conversation. Like I honestly, I kind of forget that I'm recording sometimes. I'm just like talking, I'm not trying to do anything in particular. But sometimes I do get concerned, I guess, that, we don't have many listeners. Like straight up, we don't have very many. But like, I hope they're like entertained at least, or they can like relate in some way. And it's just kind of hard to like "Ooh, that was kind of all over the place. I hope they like that one." Like, I don't know. But, at the same time, like, I'm just trying to do something for me and talk to my friends. And if people don't like it, I still get to talk to my friends. So, like, it's not like you can really lose in this situation.
No, there's really no lose-lose.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Crystal clear quality. It's recorded. So if you thought something was really funny, you could actually go back and listen to it again if you really wanted to. And, there's no negatives.
Plus,
really.
I started recording this like the day after I moved to Colorado. And it was just really interesting to go back. We did like a recap of our New Year's resolutions on July 1st. Like, okay, we're halfway through the year. Let's see what we did and what we didn't do. And it was so funny to hear, 25-year-old me just moved to Colorado, didn't have a job, didn't know what I was going to do. And it's like, man, like I feel like I picked a really good time to start this. Pat's like moving to Cincinnati now. Like these are probably the most like transformative years of our lives. And we have it all, on not tape, but
documented.
Yeah. And it's like, I see myself as like an 80-year-old, like digging up the old like iPhone, the only thing that even plays MP3s anymore because some better format exists, just listening to my life as a ignorant little 26-year-old thinking I'm going to do this podcast network, but future me knows that it maybe fails miserably, but from the ashes something else comes up and I like that even more. Like I get really excited thinking about hearing this exact second that I'm recording 50 years in the future, where my life will be then, looking back on how silly I was, So yeah.
How many old conversations do you get to hear with you and your buddies? Because, if we could have recorded them when we were sitting on top of that garage
I
roof,
wish we could have, man.
Right. So there's magic. There's just as much, if not more, magic in those conversations because they were only ever heard by us.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's as almost as much magic in these if they stand the test of time, and you go back when you're 65, 70 years old, and you still have your best buddies around, and then you press play on this, like, man, that's what we sounded like because we're all gonna sound like that and be all old and wrinkly and things. Yeah, weird. Hang on to this stuff.
Yeah.
I won't. By the time I'm 60, I won't touch a goddamn anything that has electricity in it.
I know you won't, dude. Even with all that wind electricity you'll be generating, you're not even going to use it.
Yeah, what am I talking about, dude? I would be all over that.
Well, do you want to do a highlight of the week, a song of the week, and then we'll get out of here so I can finish the Ad Astra episode that's supposed to go out in like 5 hours?
Sure, man.
So yeah, what's your highlight of this past week?
Okay, you might have to bear with me.
Ooh, okay.
Because I am thinking about what was good this past week.
Ooh, do you want me to go first then?
Yeah, man, go.
Okay,
go for it. Go for it.
So as you know, I got engaged like 10 days ago.
Whoop, whoop. Congrats, Tom.
Thanks, man. And like immediately I was like, how am I going to pay for this wedding? Right. And Megan's like, well, the bride's family usually pays for it. It's like, oh, thank God, because her mom and dad have done pretty well in their lives. Like, they have money, whereas we do not. So we've been talking, like, I didn't expect to go so quickly into planning the thing, but like, we already have a deposit on the place like 14 months in advance, which surprisingly they only had one weekend left available in September of 2018, and we are recording this in July of 2017. Like, that seems insane to me. But we already have the venue booked and like a 50% deposit, and again, by we I mean like her parents put the money down.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like my personality type is to be like a project manager, like someone juggling a ton of things, different things at once, with a lot of different people involved. The process of planning like a wedding is a lot of fun. It's like, it's more, I guess, formal than I anticipated. It's not in a church or anything. It's like basically in a barn by a river in rural Vermont, which is amazing. But we're doing like the separate ceremony, reception. People can stay at the inn. There's like catering and stuff, like, you know, everything that goes into a wedding. But like, I'm actually having a lot of fun like planning it. I called Bernie Sanders today to invite him to the wedding and see if he wanted to officiate it. I'm not, because it's in Burlington, which is like his home district in Vermont. So I called his scheduling guy and I was like, I'm inviting Bernie Sanders to come to my wedding. And he was like, well, I've never known him to join weddings, but it's pretty much in his backyard, so maybe he'll show up. You should give it a try. So I'm actually like reaching out to his people to book him, and not even book him, just like invite him, you know. But that's all been very exciting, and I can't believe that like we already have a down payment, a deposit on the place, and that's my highlight of the week because I'm super stoked. Even though I don't want to wait 14 months to marry her, like I want to marry her like right now. But I don't know. It's been fun. And it's more fun than I expected, and I think that's good enough for a highlight.
That's a terrific highlight, and I'd like to mention that we also put out or reserved a spot when we were going to get married, and then we were like, F that. We canceled it, and we eloped. Totally eloped. And because for us, planning a wedding sucked, so I'm glad it's fun for you. We didn't enjoy it at all for whatever reason. I don't know why. I can't remember why. Maybe I'll have to reflect on that maybe when she's home.
All right.
Wait, what's her name again? Anyway. All right. Well, Tom, that's just inspiring. I'm super happy for you, dude.
Thanks, man.
I miss you and I miss Megan.
Miss you, man.
You guys are pretty important people, and you're perfect for each other, Ms. Moonbeams. And you know what? The highlight of my week, I'm just gonna sling it out there. I really, really enjoy working on this house, even though it gets a little bit overwhelming.
Sure.
Most times, I do really enjoy it. The past week, I have fine-tuned the process of aging and antiquing kitchen cabinets.
Nice.
And last weekend, I who let the dogs out? I just went to town on these doors, and I put them all up on the weekend. I hung everything level and plumb, and they just are very sweet looking. And I have half of them done. I got another 25 doors left to do.
Oh my God.
I got a lot of work to do, but that's me. That's who I am. I'm a worker. I just keep going. Just give me a shot of orange juice and I'm good to go.
Ew.
And they look really sharp, and I'm proud of them. I've been waiting just about a year to really have them done because I didn't know how to do it at first. So it's like, screw it. I'm just going to paint them all solid and I'll figure it out later. And I did. I figured it out later. So I'm pretty proud of those kitchen cabinets. Yo, scratch one more thing off this very, very, very long list of things to do in this house. So
that's awesome, man.
My kitchen cabinets.
Dude, cabinets are awesome. I really want to build cabinets for my future kitchen, like some really nice maple shaker style doors, just like, and I want like a marble countertop with like glitter in it, like some really.
Then you just need a granite
stuff.
Countertop with natural glitter, like quartz and quartzite crystals that are cut at the right angles to reflect the sun based on their. I'm done pulling.
Yeah, sure. I want it to look like a unicorn threw up on my countertop is essentially what I'm going for.
You want Stargazer marble?
Yeah, is that actually what it's called?
Dude, I don't know. Sounds good though, right?
Trademark
I sold
that.
You were like, no that really exists?
That sounds perfect. I'll take it. I'll take one slab, please. Song of the week. No, I really do like that. Kitchens are dope. I'm excited to do one. Song of the week. Anything you've been digging lately? I mean, what's the happy hips? Is that what they say? John.
So I'm one of the largest John Prine fanatics there is in the world.
Okay.
And in the shop, in my little backyard shop where I've been doing most of my work, I put some of his tunage on shuffle just to get the old creative music juices flowing and keep the good vibes rolling through the shop. And my favorite song of all time just happens to be my song of the week. I've been picking it on the old guitar recently, and it is John Prine's Angel from Montgomery. And he originally wrote and released that song in 1971 on his debut. And he also did a revised album called Souvenirs. I think that was released in 2001 or when was it? 2001 or 2002, I think. And he redid many of his old tunes in a new fashion. And the Angel from Montgomery song in particular is the one on Souvenirs. So any of y'all who want to listen to a little bit of John Prine tunage from over the years, Angel from Montgomery, it'll put you in a weird place. And I'll always...
It's a good place to be sometimes.
Good place to be sometimes. And that's my song of the week. Go JP. I'm going to go see him in September.
Heyo. Awesome. So something Pat and I've been talking about a lot lately is that I have been really disenfranchised. I'm just not really enjoying music like I used to. Mainly because I see anytime I have headphones in my ears or something coming out of my car stereo, I feel like I could be educating myself on something. So I'll listen to an audiobook or like a educational podcast. So I haven't been enjoying music as much as I used to. But I'm sure, or maybe you haven't heard of the tragic death of the singer of Linkin Park last week. Did you hear about that?
I have heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were probably my first favorite band. Yeah, I guess so. Like 5th grade, 6th grade. I mean, you know the stuff that I went through at home with the family stuff, like stepdad, all that.
Yeah.
It was bad. Like, it was pretty bad. And their music helped me through a lot of stuff. And I've listened to it off and on since then. But after hearing about Chester dying, like, literally, I was, like, sobbing at work. Like, literally crying on the roof at work. Just because, like, I feel like this dude helped me out through some of the darkest parts of my life. And then he, didn't make it through one of his. And that's really sad to me. So I was listening through a lot of their older stuff, and I downloaded Linkin Park, the Live in Texas album, which I owned on DVD. Loved it. There's a song, it's like the Reanimation remix of Pushing Me Away. And it's really good, man. It's, their lyrics are really sad kind of stuff, like really dark. And I'm not in that place anymore where I really connect with it like I used to, but it's a really beautiful song, especially after you hear the original version. Like, they really mellowed it out. They sing it like half the speed that they did on the first album. It's a good song. It's called Pushing Me Away, and it's spelled all weird. It's like P5hng. Like, it's like their remix of it.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just, because of the news of what happened, but I haven't been listening to much of anything. I'm reading or listening to an audiobook by the founder of Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic right now. So hasn't been much music lately, but that's definitely, something I've enjoyed over the past couple days. So I'll recommend that.
Rest in peace, Chester.
So sad, dude. So sad. God, just, people people need help, you know. And if someone who had all the access to all the resources that he ever could have needed to get better, and he still couldn't, you know, there are people out there who don't have the resources who need it. So I don't know, man. Just, you know,
We'll get by with a little help from our friends.
something like that. Even though I don't like that band, they do speak truth. But yeah, man. We just now hit 100 minutes on the recording, which is longer than we usually go.
Tom, it's been a pleasure to be on this week with you.
Dude, yeah, you were supposed to be on this whole time, and I understand Pat's schedule is out of control. I don't want to stay up most nights for him to get home, so I understand, but yeah, man, it's good talking to you, because I talk to Pat every week, and I feel like, you know, your presence is always missing, so over the next few weeks, you know, since we can do an earlier schedule, definitely do want to be able to talk to you a little bit more.
I think we can make it happen as long as we keep it down as far as minutes go.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Should be okay. Yeah,
this is a long one. Maybe we'll try to. I'm gonna have Megan on next week, but maybe for like 2 weeks from now, we'll try to actually plan something out so we can keep it under, you know, 70 minutes or something.
that sounds good.
All right, man. Well, get some sleep. We both have long days tomorrow. And I'm glad you're here, man. I love you, and I hope you sleep tight.
Love you too, brother. Keep it real.
All right, dude. Talk to you later.
Later.
Ba 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 ba.